World War II was one of the darkest chapters in human history. Between 1939 and 1945, the world witnessed unprecedented destruction, death, and despair. But beyond the battles, the bombs, and the broken cities, what did humanity truly lose? We lost more than 70 million lives. Soldiers and civilians, the young and the old, men, women, and children. Cities were reduced to rubble, cultures were erased, and generations were traumatized. Entire families vanished. Communities that had thrived for centuries were wiped off the map in just a few years. We lost safety, the sense that our homes, our streets, and our daily lives were stable and secure disappeared. Bombing raids turned peaceful nights into chaos. The front lines moved through villages, towns, and cities, leaving destruction and fear in their wake. We lost trust. Nations turned on one another. Neighbors betrayed neighbors. Friends became enemies. Suspicion and propaganda replaced empathy and truth. War tore apart not just borders, but relationships, communities, and ideals. We lost innocence. Children grew up surrounded by barbed wire, sirens, and violence. Many never had a chance to laugh freely, to go to school safely, or to dream of a future. Entire childhoods were stolen by war. We lost knowledge. Libraries, universities, and museums were bombed and burned. Priceless works of art and scientific breakthroughs were destroyed. In Nazi-occupied Europe, scholars, artists, and thinkers were targeted, silenced, or murdered, often simply because of their heritage. We lost culture. Synagogues, churches, mosques, and ancient monuments were destroyed. With them, centuries of heritage, art, language, and tradition vanished. The Holocaust alone decimated the Jewish population of Europe and nearly erased Yiddish culture and Jewish life in countless towns. We lost morality. The horrors of the Holocaust revealed the depths of human cruelty. Concentration camps, gas chambers, medical experiments, and genocide forced the world to confront what people are capable of under totalitarian ideologies. The line between good and evil became tragically clear. We lost time. The years spent fighting, hiding, and surviving could have been used to build, to create, to connect. Instead, they were consumed by conflict. We lost potential. Who knows how many great scientists, artists, teachers, and leaders were lost in the war? How many dreams never came true? How many innovations never happened because the people who would have created them never got the chance? And yet, from this immense loss, we learned. The United Nations was born. Human rights became a global concern. Nations promised, never again. But even those lessons are fragile. As time passes, the voices of survivors grow fewer. Their stories must not be forgotten. Because if we forget what we lost, we risk losing it all again. World War II wasn't just a war of nations. It was a war against humanity itself. And the greatest loss wasn't just in numbers, it was in spirit, in connection, and in the very soul of civilization. This video is a reminder, a tribute to those who were lost, and a call to remember so that we never allow such darkness to return. More than 2,000 synagogues, Over 1,000 churches and hundreds of historic mosques and temples were damaged or destroyed. Museums, libraries, and cultural institutions across Europe were looted or obliterated, erasing centuries of artistic and intellectual achievement. Globally, an estimated 60 million people became refugees or were displaced, forced to flee their homes due to bombings, invasions, or persecution. The war left a deep psychological scar across generations. Post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD) was barely understood at the time, and millions suffered in silence. Entire populations were redrawn, borders shifted, nations disappeared or were reborn. The face of the world was permanently altered. World War II was not just a geopolitical conflict. It was a turning point in the human story, a devastating reminder of how fragile peace is and how quickly darkness can rise when hatred and fear are left unchecked. These numbers are not just statistics. They represent lives, families, dreams, and futures that were stolen. And that is why we must never forget. World War II claimed an estimated 70 to 85 million lives, representing around 3% of the global population at the time. Of these, more than 50 million were civilians, men, women, and children caught in the crossfire or targeted directly. The Soviet Union suffered the highest number of casualties, with over 27 million deaths, including both military personnel and civilians. China lost more than 15 million, and Poland lost around 6 million, half of whom were Jews murdered in the Holocaust. The Holocaust alone claimed the lives of 6 million Jews, including 1.5 million children. Other persecuted groups included Romani people, disabled individuals, Slavs, political prisoners, and many others, bringing the total number of Holocaust victims closer to 11 million. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki killed over 200,000 people, either instantly or from radiation-related illnesses in the months that followed. These bombings not only ended the war in the Pacific, but opened a terrifying new chapter in human warfare. More than 100 countries were involved in the conflict in some capacity, making it the most widespread war in human history. The war spanned 6 continents and included battles on land, sea, and air. Over 25 million soldiers were wounded or permanently disabled. Many returned home physically broken, mentally scarred, and often forgotten by the nations they served. Economically, World War II cost the world an estimated $4 trillion, adjusted for modern inflation. Entire cities were flattened: Warsaw, Dresden, Stalingrad, Manila, and countless others, in memory of all who were lost. May we never forget. Thank you for watching. Honor the fallen. Defend the peace. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe for the channel for more interesting facts.